In 2005, two sisters in Nottingham inherited £10,000 each. June put hers in a savings account at the Building Society. Sensible, guaranteed, untouched for 20 years. Rose put hers somewhere that sounds reckless. The stock market. Not into any particular company, into all of them at once, through one very boring fund, which she then ignored completely. 20 years on, June has about £13,000, which, after 20 years of rising prices, buys less than her 10,000 did on the day she walked into the branch. Rose has roughly 60,000. Same inheritance, same street, same amount of effort, which is to say, none. This is the story of the machine that did that. The slowest, dullest way to get rich ever invented. And the reason it beats nearly everything else. By the end, you'll know how it works, what it honestly costs, and the 3 mistakes that break it. Every investing story starts in the same unglamorous place, spending less than you earn. There is no way around this part. The gap between what comes in and what goes out is the raw material for everything that follows. Rose's fortune wasn't built by the market alone. It was built by her having something to give the market in the first place. And the gap doesn't need to be heroic. It needs to be regular, a little, kept back every month, move somewhere else before you have a chance to meet it socially. Treat your future like the first bill of the month, not the last hope of it. The gap is where every fortune starts. The rest of this story is just deciding where the gap should live. Because here is where June went wrong, by doing the thing everyone told her was right. Her money sat in the account, perfectly safe, earning 1% or so. But prices did not sit. Inflation, the slow rise in the price of everything, runs at a few percent most years, and it never takes a year off for good behavior. If your money grows more slowly than prices do, it is shrinking. It just doesn't feel like shrinking, because the number in the passbook still creeps upward. June never lost £1 on paper. In reality, she lost 1/4 of her spending power. Cash doesn't shrink loudly. It shrinks politely. So Rose's money went where prices couldn't catch it, into shares. A share is a small slice of a real company. Own one, and you own a sliver of everything that company earns. Own shares in many companies, and you own a sliver of the world's actual work. The factories, the shops, the software, the ships. That is why, over the long run, the world's stock markets have returned somewhere between 7 and 10% a year on average, through wars, crashes, and every recession you can name. Because this isn't a bet on luck. It is ownership of human effort, and human effort compounds. At that pace, money doubles roughly every decade. And the astonishing part is who's allowed in. Anyone. The same returns the wealthy get. Minimum stake about £1. The catch is that any single company can die. Woolworths looked immortal. Ask your parents. Put your whole 10,000 into one beloved firm, and you are betting your future on one boardroom never making a mess of things. And boardrooms are staffed entirely by people. So Rose spread it. Diversification just means owning so many companies that no single disaster matters. One goes under, and it costs you a fraction of 1%, because hundreds of others quietly carried on. You give up the jackpot. You will never own the one miracle stock in any size that matters. And in exchange, no single failure can take you down. That is the whole trade. Give up the lottery ticket, keep the future. Which brings us to the machine itself. An index is just a list of companies. The FTSE 100, spelt FTSE, said FTSE. is the 100 biggest companies in Britain. The S&P 500 is the 500 biggest in America. An index fund is a fund that simply buys the whole list. No star manager, no hunches, no lunches, a robot buying everything for a fee close to nothing. It sounds like settling for average. And here is the awkward secret of the entire finance industry. The studies keep finding that over 10 years and more, the large majority of professional fund managers, clever people, paid fortunes, working weekends, fail to beat the plain list. Not because they're fools, because the market is genuinely hard to outguess, and their fees eat whatever edge they find. As the man who invented the index fund put it, don't look for the needle in the haystack. Buy the haystack. Which haystack then? They have personalities. The FTSE is Britain's old guard. Banks, oil, mining, dividends, steady, rarely thrilling. The S&P 500 is America's engine room. The technology giants live there, and over recent decades it has grown far faster, though nothing says the next decades must rhyme with the last ones. Choosing between them is itself a bet. So many people simply decline to choose. A global index fund buys thousands of companies across every major market at once. Britain, America, Japan, everywhere, in one fund. That was Rose's reckless choice, in full. She didn't pick winners. She picked everyone. Now, the wrapper, because Britain, in a rare fit of generosity, built a tax shelter for ordinary savers and then barely mentioned it. Normally, when investments pay out or are sold at a profit, the taxman appears. But investments held inside an ISA, an individual savings account, a wrapper you place around your money, grow completely tax-free. No tax on the growth, none on the dividends, none when you take it out, nothing even to declare. You can add up to £20,000 a year. And the version called a stocks and shares, ISA holds index funds perfectly well. It is one of the best deals in British finance, and using it costs nothing but the remembering. Actually doing all this takes less than an hour once. You open an account with an investment platform, the calm kind, all beige screens and percentages, not the kind with confetti. Choose a stocks and shares ISA. Pick one broad global index fund and set up a monthly direct debit. That is the entire ritual. What deserves your suspicion is anything that tries to make it exciting. Apps that flash, tips that scream, coins that promise the moon, and above all, fees. A plain index fund charges around 0.1 to 0.2% a year. A managed fund charging 1.5% sounds barely different. And over a working lifetime, that little gap quietly eats something like a quarter of everything the machine would have built you. The most profitable sentence to read in all of investing is the fee line. Excitement is a cost. Boredom, strangely, is the product. And so, as promised, the 3 mistakes. The machine is simple, and people still break it, always in the same 3 ways. Mistake 1 is waiting. Waiting for the crash, for certainty, for the right moment. But the market's best days hide right beside its worst ones, and missing just a handful of them across the decades roughly halves the result. Nobody rings a bell at the bottom. Time in the market beats timing the market. It became a cliche by being relentlessly true. Mistake 2 is panicking. In 2008, the market roughly halved, and it felt like the end of the world. The savers who did nothing, changed nothing, sold nothing, were made whole within a few years and then carried on upward. A fall only becomes a loss when you sell it. Arthur once met a man who sold everything in March 2009, the exact bottom, and badly burned, never went back in. He didn't lose his money in the crash. He lost it in the recovery, a little more every year for the rest of his working life. Mistake 3 is dreaming. If your plan needs 20% a year, you don't have a plan. You have a wish, and somewhere, someone's selling it to you. Plan on 7-ish. Be pleased by 10, and walk away briskly from anyone who guarantees more. One honest boundary before the ending. This machine is for long money. Money you won't need for 10 years or more. A house deposit you'll want in 3 years does not belong in the stock market because crashes don't book appointments, and a bad year arriving just as you find the right house is a catastrophe that a dull savings account would have spared you. Short money stays safe and slightly shrinking. Call that the price of certainty. And for a deposit, it is worth paying. Long money is where the machine earns its keep. A couple of £100 a month, started in your 20s and left alone, comes out somewhere around £250,000 at ordinary returns. Feed it more and start it sooner, and the arithmetic begins to whisper about finishing work while your knees still cooperate. That is all early retirement is. The same machine, fed harder, started earlier. Saving isn't giving money up. It is choosing in advance the day you'll be free. Rose, for the record, never learned another thing about investing. She reads novels. June, once she'd seen the numbers, moved what was left into the same dull fund. 20 years late, which is the second best time. Arthur walked home, past the building society, past its window full of promises about safety, and thought about how quietly that word had changed sides. Then he did what sensible investors do with their portfolios. Nothing, though he checked his own holdings for thoroughness. One scarf, fully diversified, across both ends of his neck. The dividend arrives every winter without fail.